face and start kicking ass, just like it said at the beginning of the program.
Man of the hour, tower of power, too sweet to be sour.
Sending your ass on the jabroni jet to the other side of the territory, brother.
The Alabama Hammer.
Nightmares on the best part of my day.
The goods from the woods.
Hot damn!
Welcome to the Goods from the Woods. My name is Rivers Langley.
I'm Pat Riley.
I'm Mr. Good Man of the Hour, tower of power, too sweet to be sour.
And today we are joined in our air-conditioned studio.
Yeah, it's a new era, guys. Episode 101.
Yeah.
We're starting the new century out, and we got air conditioning running.
Yeah.
I know, I might just sleep in here. We should do a marathon or something.
It would make
Just me snoring.
yeah, we could cuddle and watch OJ.
That sounds great.
And we're joined by our friend Kansas City's finest, ladies and gentlemen. It's
Patrick Moore. Hey,
Hell
guys.
yeah. Good to see you. Yeah, so we do, if you hear a little noise in the background, that is the air conditioning. Just know that is necessary for today because otherwise we would have died in here. So
Yeah, I give off a lot of body heat.
body heat!
The number one disco thing.
Yeah, show up this
call.
morning. I was sweating.
Yeah, not anymore. Our guest today. Actually, I wanted to mention this. I got to go see something fun. I got to go see Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys do the record Pet Sounds, which they did for like a KCRW concert. Our friend Monica Scott at Mighty Monica hooked me up with the ticket to go see that. And
Where was it at?
it was at the Hollywood Bowl.
That's awesome.
And it was, apparently the thing sold out in about 10 minutes. It was packed. It was awesome. Although I got the distinct impression that even if Brian Wilson wasn't there, the show would have pretty much run the same.
So it's like a Bob Dylan show, except
Like-
better organized.
yeah, like amazing things are happening around this person, kind of like, and not to take anything away from Brian Wilson. Obviously, he's a genius.
Well, he's
but
the
at this
auteur.
point-
He's the auteur
yeah.
of it all.
Exactly, and at this point,
He more directed Pet Sounds as opposed to
Right.
conventionally, performed it.
Yeah, well, I mean, he sang a lot of the songs.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, but
Well, the funniest thing about it was him and Al Jardine. Al Jardine
He's a hobbit, actually. Most people don't know that.
he looked like Tom Wolfe. He was dressed. He had like a white suit. Like he looked exactly like Tom Wolfe standing up there. I don't know. I was kind of surprised. The fun part was Al Jardine's son, who looks like the manager of a Chili's.
He's taller than Al Jardine.
he's actually former UFC champion Keith Jardine.
No, his name is Matt Jardine, and he is the guy who does the high parts now. Like he can hit that woo, that shit, like that crazy high part from the Beach Boys. That's the guy in charge of that now, and he looks like, ma'am, if you don't calm down, I'm gonna have to call Matt Jardine in here to take you out of this Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah, you've drank too many 32-ounce Brutuses. You got to respect the other patrons here at this Applebee's.
Yeah.
So was there food at the concert too?
The best part about the Hollywood Bowl, you can bring snacks. So we had a big bag of snacks, and
Did you bring vegetables?
no, we brought cheese. But then Monica forgot a knife, so there was just some cheese and no real way to eat it other than to just kind of break it off. But
You're supposed to bring your favorite vegetables to the Smile concert.
Oh yeah, of course.
That was the point.
Love you most of all. My favorite vegetable.
That went right over my head. Yeah.
Brought me a carrot.
My favorite. Doesn't he keep saying vegetables?
Vegetable.
Yeah.
My favorite vegetables. Yeah,
Was that Van Dyke Parks?
probably.
Because
yeah.
he talked like that. Have you ever seen Van Dyke Parks in an interview?
No, I haven't.
He says, well, I wrote a song called Vegetables, come out on an album called Pet Sound.
No, they dragged Tony Asher out there. He was like
Tony Atlas?
No, not Tony Atlas. No, Tony
A
Asher.
hell of a show.
The guy who wrote most of the lyrics
Yeah.
for Pet Sounds, he was still around. And then the weird part of the show was at the very end. Well, first of all, Brian Wilson introduced every song. The bill
So it was like in Fantasia. Remember in between they would have that silhouetted guy just talk about what you're supposed to see?
right. Yeah, it was a little like that, but everybody knew ahead of time that like we were going to see them play the whole Pet Sounds record front to back. But he set up, he's like, this is a song I wrote when I was 19, and you're gonna love it. It's called God only knows. And then the crowd would go, and he introduced every single song like that, and we're all just kind of like, yeah, you pretty much just start playing. We're gonna know what.
Yeah.
You're gonna
We know you're closing with Caroline. No, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that was funny.
Did he sing or did he just introduce the song?
He sang, yeah. It's funny because his vocal range has sort of slipped down to. He sang Mike Love.
none.
Well, no, he sang a bunch of Mike Love wasn't there because Mike Love has been ostracized
Yeah.
from the Wilson camp.
Did they burn him in effigy at the end of the show?
No.
It's like everybody called for an encore. It's like, guess what? We can't encore the entire album, so we'll just burn Mike Love in effigy.
Oh no, they did all of Mike Love's songs. He did fucking Hang On to Your Ego. He did the whole thing. But he kept going. This is a song my cousin Mike Love wrote. He can't be here tonight because he's on the road with another band. And he wouldn't say the Beach Boys.
That's great.
And so, but
Do you really need Mike Love though? Anyway,
no, and the best part about it, Brian Wilson's voice, as you do when you get older, goes down in range. He actually sings Mike Love's songs better than he sings his own now because he's back. He's
It's
sort
not
of down
that
in
hard to
range.
sing better than Mike Love.
That's fair, yeah. He didn't do Stay True to Your School or anything like that.
no, and I mean, what would Mike Love do? He'd come out with a comb over and a Hawaiian
Yeah,
shirt,
looking
probably-
like somebody's uncle and
Yeah.
like doing that dance.
Yeah, doing his Cabbage Patch.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Mick Jagger's out there in the '60s grinding his groin and
Yeah.
things, and his what's his name, James Brown, and all this, and he's
Yeah.
doing the Cabbage Patch.
But he does
pretending
like
he's
the little
driving the steering wheel.
and he's doing the little squat like dads do, like
Yeah.
that kind of
Yeah.
half like
Mike Love
popping a
always
squat
looked like a
thing.
guy at a party, like the dad at the party that tries to get real cool during karaoke or something like that.
Hey kids, you like Chubby Checker?
Was there a Beach Boy huddle at any point during the night?
No, and that's
Was
probably
Stamos there?
Dude,
Stamos is probably Camp Love. So
yeah. Well, you know what was funny was he kept mentioning Mike Love. Where he's like, Mike Love can't be here tonight. And I kept thinking, that motherfucker is just sitting in the valley right now.
Yeah.
There's no chance he's not in town. Really good.
Mike
good
Love
show.
can't be here because he's a giant fucking douchebag.
My cousin Mike Love is a fucking asshole. Here's good vibration.
Yeah.
That was probably the whole excuse for the concert, was just to talk shit about Mike Love.
It kinda
Look
turned
who's
into-
not here tonight, folks.
Yeah.
Mike Love.
Look who's expendable.
We've got Al Jardine, and he's not even a relative.
He's just Mike Love's friend.
Did you see the Brian Wilson movie? That one with John Cusack and Aldana?
No, but he did play, because I guess he wrote a new song for the film called Love and Mercy, and that's the name of the song.
Yeah.
And that was what he closed with.
Okay.
They did like Help Me Rhonda, Surfing USA. Like they played, they started off with some hits, they played all the Pet Sounds, and then they did Good Vibrations, Help Me Rhonda, Surfing USA.
That was a strange movie.
And
Really?
then-
I've never
well,
seen it.
It was because it's like Paul Dano plays a young Brian Wilson, and then John
Uh-huh.
Cusack plays the old losing it Brian Wilson.
Yeah. It
Was this a theatrical movie?
I think it was like an independent movie, but yeah,
Yeah,
it came out like last year.
release. But he wrote a new song for it called Love and Mercy, and that's what he closed with, was that song. And all I could think while he was playing that song was the part in Walk Hard where it's like, do it, you're gonna have to sing a song that encapsulates your entire life. And that was totally what that song
Absolutely.
was.
Paul
But
Dano's great in that movie. John Cusack made some interesting choices.
he always does.
He does.
Have you read his Twitter?
I unfollowed him on Twitter.
He is basically illiterate. He is functionally illiterate.
And I don't know
Well, that
what
is the
political party
perfect
he's a part
form
of.
for Twitter.
I mean, that's why he could nail the role of Lloyd Dobler really well. Because, his reading comprehension isn't that good.
We're talking drinking today.
Cocktails tore up my family. Cocktails tore down my home.
So you have a show down at the West Side Comedy Theater
Where you do your show.
where I have my show on
Yeah.
Friday nights. It's called Tanked, and it's a storytelling show
It
about
is.
drinking.
Yeah, just have comics telling the stories because usually comedians make a lot of bad decisions. They've
Yeah,
got,
that's what leads you to this road.
They like to drink,
Uh-huh.
so they have good stories, but a lot of times these stories are things they can't tell on stage because the story might be too long. It might be 7-10 minute story. It's not
Yeah.
something they ordinarily tell on stage. So
Yeah.
it's a fun opportunity for them to tell these stories, and it's a lot of fun.
No, okay. So well, first of all, where are you from? Where did you grow up?
Grew up in Kansas City.
Okay, you're actually from Kansas City.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you from Kansas City or are you from Overland Park?
I am from Kansas City.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I like it when people are actually from Kansas City.
Pat
like-
is the Kansas City Gestapo.
Yeah, I know.
any of those
Missouri or
Overland
Kansas
Park
side.
people.
Yeah. No, see, and like my mom lived on the Kansas side, my dad lived on the Missouri side, so
Oh,
I can
okay.
claim both
Cool.
sides.
Wow, so you're as Casey as it gets.
Yeah, I lived in both Kansas cities.
Wow.
You lived in Kansas and Missouri.
Yeah.
So did they go over and like vote for like the Lecompton Constitution and stuff like that?
I have no idea how that works at all. And people ask, usually they're like, oh, Kansas City, Kansas or Missouri? When someone asks that, they're usually not from Kansas or Missouri, because if you live in Kansas or Missouri, you really don't give a shit.
You've never gone over to Kansas to
Yeah.
kill some Jayhawkers or anything
I would
like
say
that?
I went to KU very briefly, but I like to hang out on the Missouri side as opposed to the Kansas side, just for the things I like to do in my spare time. Get in less trouble in Missouri. I like to smoke a lot of pot, and that's not a big thing in Kansas.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
it's
I
like
thought
one
it
of those
had
things where it's
changed.
just like it doesn't really matter. It's like how Atlanta's split between DeKalb County and Cobb County, not Cobb County, but Fulton County.
Yeah.
So it's just like, well, it doesn't matter, but there are different like drinking like rules.
sure.
So it's like, it's closing time in Fulton. Let's just go over to like DeKalb County.
Yeah,
and-
7 minutes away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So it's not dry, is it?
Pretty dry. I mean, it gets humid in the summer.
No, I mean alcohol wise.
Oh, no. That's all there is to do in Kansas City, really, is watch the Royals, the Chiefs, and drink.
That doesn't sound bad.
It's not. They have good barbecue, but I know I'm with Alabama folks, so we don't have to get into that. But I like it all. I like all barbecue. I'm not.
Oh yeah,
I'm not
no.
picky.
I met your father during
Yeah.
a Yellowhammer show, and he brought out a bunch of Kansas City barbecue, and that was where I got introduced to burnt ends, which
Burnt
is
ends
my-
are great.
Oh, bird ends are great.
Yeah.
apparently very carcinogenic because they're just
Oh.
made of carbon. Like
yeah. That's
char,
why they're
but,
so good.
They are so good.
Yeah, let's forget all that flavor.
Yeah.
No, I grew up in Kansas City. I went to a Catholic school, grade school and high school.
Uh-huh.
So that's where I learned how to drink.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Was that co-ed or all boys?
it was co-ed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't have sex, but it was co-ed.
Yeah, I mean, I think generally, like, the only, all boys Catholic schools are like the Jesuit schools. I
Yeah.
think.
There used to be a lot more.
Yeah, a lot
There
more.
used to be a lot more, but
that
not
was, like-
nowadays.
yeah, that's when they started, like, phasing out the nuns and that there will only be one priest that, is for the school, and mostly it's just, regular lay people that, run the
I always
school.
forget, though, what makes you a Jesuit as opposed to just being like a Catholic or something.
Okay, so a Jesuit is just an approach. So there's the different approaches to schools of clergy. So like there's like the Franciscans and the
Yeah.
Benedictines and stuff like that.
Dominicans.
The Dominicans.
It's an
like, but the-
order. It's like
Yeah.
a frat that priests join.
Yeah, so it's
Right.
like the Jesuits are the ones that are the more like education,
Okay.
and more like science. They're
like
the
liberal,
scholars,
right?
Like theology.
and they're more liberal. You know, so they're called God's Marines.
Okay.
So the Pope is actually.
That sounds more hardcore than
Well, no, because they go on the front line of like educating and like social outreach and
okay.
stuff like
John
that.
Fossa was more a Marine than most Jesuits that I've seen.
So the Pope now is a Jesuit. So that's
Okay.
like so they have that kind of approach. He's the first. I think he's the first Jesuit Pope. But like so
They keep calling him the cool Pope, so that makes sense.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So
I don't know that I learned he was a Jesuit.
and usually Jesuits have like other jobs too. So like you'll have Jesuit scientists, you'll have Jesuit lawyers,
Yeah.
you'll have Jesuit like a lot of them are college professors or high school teachers or something like that. So
So, like, I know Loyola is like the Jesuit university, right?
yeah, and like the two like Roman Catholic priests that served in Congress were both Jesuits. The main one was a Jesuit. I think John Carroll was also a Jesuit as well. So they have this sort of thing where it's like, okay, you have to do something else. You can't just be a priest. You have to have like a side hustle or something like that.
So you
gotta
don't
have a
look
side hustle.
totally useless.
So yeah, I grew up there. So you started drinking in high school, I guess? Or?
Yeah, I started relatively late compared to my friends. I was 16 when I got drunk for the first time, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay.
What was the poison of that?
First time was bourbon,
Okay, yeah.
which I think is still why it might be my favorite drink.
Yeah.
Because usually I hear like either you like the first thing you drink or you don't ever drink it again. Like I have a buddy that like
you mean you're telling me I didn't try Rick's spiked margarita again?
yeah, everyone's got a story like that, dude. Yeah.
Oh,
Where
yeah.
it's like I drank this gross thing and I got really sick.
No, I just had a great time. But
Did you?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we were at a waterfall.
That's the
It's
place
usually
to drink some
being
Rick's Party
dumb,
Mix.
being a dumb kid and getting drunk off of peach schnapps or something like that.
This was like the ruthless aggression era equivalent of peach schnapps. Rick's spiked margarita. This was when there was like a million of those competitors to the would-be throne of Mike's Hard Lemonade, where there was like Sky Blue, Smirnoff Ice. There was Captain Morgan Gold, which was probably the grossest one of all of them. That still had a little bit left in the tank over in the Zima camp.
Zima. Yes.
Yeah, that was a wine cooler, wasn't it?
All of these are wine coolers. Yeah, they were all.
It was a Sprite flavored wine cooler.
Which, by the way, I don't know if you guys knew this because they don't sell it anywhere except for
Japan.
Japanese restaurants. You can actually.
Zima? They sell that in Japan?
It's huge. It's still huge in Japan, and there are certain restaurants in the States where they re-import Zima from Japan to serve in the U.S.
No shit.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
You remember Seagram's Golden Wine Cooler?
Oh, hell yeah.
I never drank none of that shit, mind you, but I just, a lot of people back then, that was their first drink, was that fruit stuff.
Yeah.
I love this. I was looking up for the Zima commercial. In the description, it says a bunch of mid-90s douchebags hang out on a roof and have a ridiculous party with Zima.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Zima was booze for 12-year-olds,
know.
if ever there was one.
Like half of the guys look like Jose Canseco.
Oh, yeah. Those are 90s outfits.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I own enough turtlenecks.
Wait, this commercial is just.
Who cares? Have a Zima.
It's like, poor something different.
Who cares? Have a Zima. You don't care.
Poor Zima on this big fish we have on the grill.
What a great advertisement. Who cares? Grab a Zima.
Zima, you don't give a shit.
You hate yourself.
Actually, that's the first thing about Zima that's ever appealed to me. Just straight up nihilism like that.
It's like
I'm into it.
yeah, who cares? We don't need to fillet this fish. We'll just put the giant fish on the grill. Maybe we should pour some Zima on it.
a marinade, if you will. You could be like Julia Child. You could drink half of it and then pour it on the
We
fish.
don't know what the hell we're doing in life. You know?
Look, look. If nothing else, it's something different.
Yeah, who cares?
Just pour some Zima on it.
Yeah.
It'll make everything.
So you started with bourbon, which is a very honorable and noble thing to start drinking on. Is
I lucked out.
Yeah.
And then a lot of wine coolers and getting drunk on gin and throwing up what feels like pine cones and all of those things. I did all that. But
Would you shoot gin straight?
I do. I still can.
I
yeah.
still do. Yeah,
Yeah.
I drink gin straight.
Really?
And it's like a good it's a summer drink too.
Yeah,
like when it's hot out, you have a
good
gin and
sipping,
tonic.
You know, get that pine flavor, that
Yeah, but that's
juniper
with a
berry.
tonic.
lime.
Yeah,
That's true.
That's with tonic. That's still a cocktail. I mean, gin is the only one that I would just never shoot straight. Really.
Well, you don't shoot gin. I mean, actually, doing a gin
Put it
shooter
in,
is
like-
one of the most absurd things you can buy. It's like doing a single malt Scotch shooter. You know?
Is that not how you're supposed to do that?
No.
Hey, you want to sip on that?
Yeah, ABS, always be sipping.
Always
That's
be
right.
sipping. That's the official slogan of Glenlivet.
Yeah, that's the official. Yeah, that's
It's the only way to
Freedom Rock
live.
Frank told me that one.
But yeah, I got drunk for the first time when I was 16. Also, when I was 16, when I was in high school, in my anatomy and physiology class, we were studying like the pulse rate and everything, and that's when I found out I had a rapid heartbeat. Because like the teacher went over and had like a pulse oximeter. It's a thing you put on your finger, and it just tells you what your resting heart rate is. I found out I had a rapid heartbeat. My resting heart rate was 160 beats per minute.
Whoa.
Which is fast for like a meth head. That's
Yeah, that's insane.
typically like 60 to 90 is about where it should be.
Yeah.
So I found that out, and like I didn't know that because I couldn't find my pulse, so I just lied on my sheet, and I was like 72. But then I was the last person to use the device, and my teacher was like, "That can't be right," and put it on a couple times. Sent me to the nurse's office. They like asked me questions. They asked me like, "Did you take anything today? Like, are you on drugs?" I'm like, "Not today, no."
Yeah.
And they sent me home. Like they were so concerned about me that they sent me home, but like they let me drive my car home. So it's like a mixed message there.
Okay.
We don't want you to die on our campus, but go ahead and get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
So then it was weird. The next couple weeks were like an episode of House where they were, because I was in Mexico earlier. So they were like testing me for weird tropical Mexico diseases and things.
Okay.
Because they knew I got sick in Mexico, but really I got sick in Mexico because I drank a whole lot of tequila and I threw up, and my teacher saw me throw up, and I just said I drank water. So I actually wasted 2 weeks of my doctor's time having him search for a Mexican bug that I might have caught because I didn't want to tell my parents I got drunk in Mexico. So that happened, and then I had 2 surgeries. I had like what's called an ablation. So I was not cut open. That's where they go through like the veins in your thighs. And basically what happened is my heart had an extra piece of tissue on it, and that piece of tissue was getting sent conductive signals. So that's why it was beating twice as fast as it's supposed to. So the first time they tried to burn off that piece of tissue, and it worked for a little bit. But then like my heart rate went back up. So like the surgery didn't work. Second time they tried to freeze it off and that actually took. And then I was on like beta blockers and like rhythm medication for about 6 months. And all of this was leading up to like one final cardiologist appointment to find out if I was like A-okay. But it also coincided like with my high school graduation.
Okay.
And I said like I like to drink, right? And I was on these medications for 6 months and I drank the entire 6 months I was on these heart medication pills, which I was not supposed to at all.
Yeah.
Not one bit. And leading up to my buddy Soren's graduation party, he had like 2 kegs and like we polished off these kegs, drank a whole bunch of whiskey. And then it got to be about like 3 or 4 in the morning where we were out of booze. And we're like, hey, we should go buy more booze.
Yeah.
But you can't because all the stores are closed. But we didn't know that. We thought they still might be open. So like 7 of us pile my buddy's like Cutlass Supreme and drive to the liquor store.
Great high school car, by the way.
Right,
dude.
You can fit 7 people in that
Cut
car.
Supreme,
yeah,
dude.
yeah.
And,
Was it a-
eight or 9 if you
Was it a Cutlass Sierra or was it the?
Oh, I think it was like the SS or something. Is that like yeah? It was nice.
Like-
yeah, you're right. You could fit like 2 people in that trunk, 2 or 3.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
used to sneak into a state park so we could go hang out by the waterfall,
Yeah.
and because we didn't each have $1.
Yeah, we did it at the drive-in, and then someone would like inevitably bang on the trunk right when we got there, so you would just be in line at the drive-in, and you would just hear banging from the trunk, and they would just stare at you like, yep, thank you.
Yeah, that was
Moving on.
that was an early game that we all started doing when we all got driver's licenses, which in hindsight is real stupid, but
Yeah.
it was just we just called it trunk, where we would just take turns getting in the trunk, and then you would just drive around, and then you'd stop the car and be like, "Where are you?"
Oh, that's a fun game.
And then the person have to guess where they are in town, and if they guessed right, they got let out, and if not, they just had to keep going.
But those phone GPSs really ruined that game.
Phones kind of fucked up everything, and prank
yeah.
phone calls for that matter.
That's true. I know I have a terrible sense of direction, dude. I would not have done well with that game.
Yeah,
I would have been in the trunk all night.
Did y'all have the inside trunk release like on the Crown Victorias and things?
Now, I think that one did, but it was broken, if I recall correctly. We were not able to open it from the inside.
that must have been invented first by Crown Victorias, just so when if a cop got their gun stolen and put in the trunk, they could get out. Surely that was that invent was invented with that car.
We tested mine. We put my neighbor Kenny in it just to make sure the damn thing worked.
Did it work?
Yeah.
Yeah, it works.
The day after this party is when I have my cardiologist appointment, basically.
Yeah.
So I'm now out late at night. We drive to the first liquor store. It's like 3 in the morning. We like bang on the windows. All the lights are off. No one's there. We drive to maybe 5 more liquor stores thinking the next one's going to be open. Not figuring out that, hey, they're all closed.
Yeah.
And by the time we get to like the 5th one, we're feeling like pretty defeated. We're sitting in the car. We got all this money we want to spend. And this guy like walks up to our window, who I'm going to call a guardian angel. Some might call him a black man in a trench coat. But he comes up and bangs on our window, scares the shit out of like 7 white Catholic kids.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, hey, yo, my name's C-Note. I got some of that white. And we're like, holy shit. C-Note has cocaine. Give him all the money. That's what we did. And we got this little bag of white stuff. We got in the Cutlass Supreme, drove off. We got back to my buddy Soren's house. I started to like divvy up some lines. And I'd done cocaine like one time before this, but like I knew that this looked a little chunky for cocaine, a little rocky.
Yeah.
Like it should have been like a pure powder, but I'm like, hey, maybe I just have to crush it up and snort it. Maybe that's how cocaine works. I don't know.
Yeah.
So like, we crush up these rocks. 2 of my friends immediately back out. They're like, that's a bad idea. I'm not doing that. Patrick, you have a heart doctor appointment tomorrow. You shouldn't do
You
that.
can't be.
Yeah, that's
you can't
a
be
bad
snorting
idea.
crack.
So I'm going to do it. And I snorted it, and that's when I realized that, yeah, it was crack.
Yeah.
We bought crack, and I snorted it. And it doesn't even get you high because it's not water soluble, so it just gets in your nose and doesn't do anything.
Oh,
Yeah.
delicious. Well, once you said you had rocks.
Yeah, you can't snort it. And then I had to drive to the cardiologist appointment, and then the next
So now
morning.
you just have drugs in your system
Oh
and
yeah,
you don't even do
I
anything.
am sweating whiskey and crack. I'm very nervous, like more nervous than I was after Mexico going to the doctor.
I'd imagine
you know?
so. Yeah.
And
You've
I
definitely heightened the game a little bit.
upped the game a little bit. So I'm sitting there. I got the hospital gown on. I got my ass in the parchment paper on the table there. And just beads of sweat coming down my face.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like, what am I going to say to my parents? Like, how am I going to explain this to my parents? Like, I'm like working on like how I'm going to tell them. My doctor comes in. He's like, Patrick, man, whatever you're doing, keep it up because your heart looks amazing. And like my heart was fully recovered, like back to 100% function.
So
Hi, I'm
apparently you
Hi.
could snort crack without any consequences.
Yeah, it saved my life.
Hi, I'm Patrick Moore for crack. Do something different.
Who cares? It's crack.
Who cares?
Hey, let's sprinkle
Crack.
Let's sprinkle some crack on this giant fish.
Actually, I got a question for that.
Yeah.
If you snort crack, does it raise your heart rate?
See, I don't know. I mean, it might have. I mean, I was really drunk, so I wouldn't have noticed.
It probably just hangs out because like one of the things with crack cocaine, from what I think, is like the ability for it to get you high is predicated on it hitting the flash and getting hot enough because they have all the accelerants in there, and they cut it with so much stuff that, you know, I think it's like one of those things where if you hit it with a flame, then it'll get all the stuff out, but like you can't really like snort it or something like that, or you have to like cook it or something like that in order to shoot it.
You know your drugs, man. Jesus Christ.
So first you get your cocaine, and then you get some baking soda.
Yeah, and then you get some other whatever, you know, that
whatever
really
you want to throw
launch
in
it.
there. Yeah,
Yeah, you know, some
have
sort
fun
of
with
accelerant.
it. Yeah,
I think there's actually a Biggie Smalls song where he explains exactly how to make crack.
See, that was before the internet, so you had to listen to the Biggie
listen
tapes.
to the Biggie tapes, hit rewind on the tape.
Or like, you know, read it in the Anarchist Cookbook, but it's like actually like BS, you know. So you'll just go back to smoking banana peels or whatever.
Yeah, like Donovan said you could do. Have y'all ever tried that?
What, smoking banana
Yeah,
peels?
you could dry a banana peel. In the 60s, they called it Banana Dream. Because remember that song, Mellow Yellow, by Donovan? That was what it was supposed to be about.
Supposed to be about smoking banana peels?
Yeah, electrical banana.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that shit?
They call it mellow yellow. Quite rightly.
does it get you high, or what's it do?
I don't know what the hell it does.
I
But
mean, it's like one of those things like conceivably it's supposed to like morning glory seeds or nutmeg or something like that.
I'd imagine it was
kids
all
will
sugar.
hear it, but they'll like try and do it, and it'll just make them sick. Where it's just like they'll buy like morning glory seeds over at Osh,
But you're the
they have
expert
like
chemist.
they have like a chemical on it, so they just eat them and they get sick.
You're the
Yeah,
expert chemist, Pat, because we could take, this is what we could do in this place. We could take a banana, and Rebels could make banana bread, and Pat could make some banana dream out of the.
I don't know how to do this sort of stuff. I just know like
Listen to that rat. What is he called? Biggie Smalls.
Yeah.
He'll probably tell you. Or Donovan. Actually, Donovan never explained it.
I just remember in 7th grade we were doing the mile run, which for me and my friends was, let's see how long we can take to do this, like to the point where we would like hide in the woods and shit and come back like after the next class had started and then cross the finish line.
For sure.
And they're like, wait, you're supposed to be in the last, what the hell are you doing? We're like, it takes a really long time to do the mile, man. But there was this perfect place where you could go off and hide in the woods and just like chill out by the creek and hang out. And there was just some regular, just a regular plant growing there. And I remember my buddy was like, oh man, do you think that is what I think it is? And we harvested whatever this was, and I put it in a paper bag and climbed up on the roof of my parents' house and put it on top of the chimney so it would just sit up there and dry.
Hell yeah.
Took that down. Didn't have any rolling papers. What I did have was a paper plate.
Right. Yes.
Rolled
Yes.
leaves into a Chinette paper plate, so it's just a huge. It was the size of my forearm.
the thing that they smoked in Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke.
It was like that, but it was filled with just a standard forest.
And it wasn't eaten by a
plant.
dog.
What was that
Previously.
episode of Flintstone Kids where you're supposed to say no to drugs and somebody hand Fred Flintstone's huge paper bag joint?
Does it make his car fall over? The worst part about this, thinking back on it, I was by myself. There was no one else just to witness this. Like I just went down to the bridge underneath Sanford Avenue.
Under the bridge
Yeah, exactly. Is where I smoked a paper plate.
I gave my life away.
I lit it on. I lit it on fire.
Hold on. This
Yes.
was made out of toxins and shit.
Yeah, this was like a really thin paper plate with just like dried leaves rolled up in it.
And yet you're still here today.
Oh, I'm still here today, but my friend, I just was like, told me it was weed, and I was so desperate. I've talked about this point in my life. This was like where I started. I was like, well, I guess I have to listen to the Doors now, and started. I like my lead up to actually smoking pot was like a year long. Like that was when I know I told this story where I wanted to smell like a hippie, so I lit a bunch of incense on fire in my closet and shut the door. So all of my clothes, I smelled like a fucking house fire. I smelled like an old woman, like a cat lady caught fire in a fucking pinata factory.
I just imagine Rivers just sitting there with like a boombox, listening to like Peace Frog, smoking like sumac. Just be like, oh, I think I get it now.
Yeah. Blood on the streets and in the palm trees of Venice, man.
It's just like I understand who the frog is now, I guess.
But I got under the bridge. I had the giant paper plate filled with leaves, and I lit it on fire and took a big ass rip, and the leaves fell onto my shirt and started burning my arm. Basically, I was like,
you have to be careful. Why you never smoke naked because shit can just fall down and burn.
I lost the drugs.
yeah. I just coughed my ass off and basically went up, and I was like, I don't think that was.
You didn't get high from any of the carcinogens?
No, it turns out paper plate and leaves does not a high create.
No, but leukemia perhaps.
Yeah, we'll see.
You smoke pot after that?
Oh yeah.
You
No, when I finally did, the first time I did smoke weed, I didn't get high, but I had like convinced myself that I did. So I sat there and like made myself laugh at QVC. that was the thing.
You don't have to be high to do that, you know.
I just remember sitting there.
Griffey Jr. rookie cards.
Jim, we're giving them all to you, mint.
Look into the abyss.
Stretch pain. It's a Garcia.
Alabama, get away, get away. Alabama, get away, get away. Only way to please me, just sit down and leave and walk away.
Had y'all ever seen the PSA Pee Wee Herman did about smoking crack?
No.
Oh, is that a thing?
You should all take a look at it because it's pretty good.
Oh, that's great.
And it's short, too.
He's got a serious look on his face.
Oh, he's dead serious.
This is crack. Rock cocaine. It isn't glamorous.
Yeah, you should
or
have seen
cool.
that commercial first.
Right.
Kid stuff. It's the most addictive kind of cocaine, and it can kill you. What's really bad is nobody knows how much it takes.
He almost sounds like
Every
Martin
time you use
Brando.
it, you risk
Oh,
dying. It isn't worth it. Look, everybody wants
They
to
got a
be
heartbeat
cool,
going.
No.
Yeah.
but doing it with crack isn't just wrong. It could be dead wrong.
I feel like I'm playing Space Invaders.
Don't even try it.
But you can't snort it.
yeah, that's fine.
So Pee Wee, I guess he didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The word of the day is overdose.
That's great.
So if anybody has a heart attack, scream real loud.
Yeah, and if you sit down and your chair comes to life, scream loud.
You think about this. Did his toilet and things talk too? Because he had to be shitting in that thing's mouth.
Right. God. Yeah, what'd the toilet say?
He said, I'm tired of your shit, Pee Wee.
That's a whole different show. Yeah.
You know whose face I always thought looked like a toilet on that show, too? Remember there's that little bully puppet called Randy or whatever?
Yeah.
And his face looked like it was a toilet.
There were a lot of things on Pee Wee Herman that looked like a toilet. No, but okay, that story made me think. You smoked out of a paper plate. Did you ever smoke out of like soda cans?
Oh yeah.
I did that for a long time, right?
Well, no. So my transgressions are as follows: soda cans, apples.
Apples are fun.
Apples is fine.
Yeah.
Baby carrots are the
I was just
ball.
about to say.
I've never done that
I was
before.
just about to say-
Camacho. You know Camacho? He's a Mexican folk musician who lives in Mar Vista. He hollered out a carrot and
Yep.
made a good little pie out of
That's
it.
awesome.
I've done carrot. I've done tinfoil and
Tinfoil is the go-to when you don't have anything.
Yeah.
And you want a little bit of carcinogens, but you're like, fuck it, let's get a Zima.
I've done it. Fuck it. Do something different.
Do something zany.
Something crazy. The two most egregious though, Power Bar, which we
Well, how do you do that? And
Interesting.
two, does it make you shit?
no, so we didn't have any apples. We didn't have anything. The only thing we had available to us was a Power Bar, a pencil, and a rolling pen. So you get the rolling pin and you roll out the power bar as thin as it'll go, and then wrap it around the pencil, and then kind of twist it up,
Okay.
like a piece of tinfoil. It's it's
It must burn awful.
I mean, no, power bars essentially have the like consistency of Play-Doh, so it's like it's really easy to
yeah.
Okay, so
you know,
it
make
makes all
little
right pie.
sculptures or useful objects.
It barely worked. It worked for like one hit, and then the bar started kind of like melting into the stuff, and it kind of ruined. It wasn't great. It wasn't a good idea. But the most egregious, and I think I've talked about this before, was the ground. Smoked out of the ground one time.
Oh, you made a hole in the ground?
Yeah, we got two.
That's how the Indians did it.
We got 2 pencils and pushed them down into the ground in kind of a V shape until they touched underneath the ground. So that therefore you kind of complete the circuit, and then you put the weed on one side of the ground and light it, and then smoke out of the other side of the ground.
So you smoked Auburn.
I smoked out of Auburn.
Auburn is your bomb.
Yeah.
That's kind of beautiful when you
is.
think about it.
It was one of those things that when it happened, we just did it, and then years later I thought about it, and the more I thought about it, I was like, we did that in someone's front fucking yard. Like we
Even better.
did that outside in someone's.
Well, people
front
would
yard.
just think you were grazing.
Or how old were
Can
you?
you dig it, baby?
You were like what, 15?
Probably, yeah. 14,
I mean,
15.
kids do stupid stuff that probably wouldn't be the thing that they would think you were doing.
If I had a yard, I'd go home and try it today.
It doesn't work so great.
The Rivers, I was in your position one time where I
On the
had
ground
weed.
smoking.
Had the weed, but didn't have anything to smoke it out of.
Yeah.
And this was before, like, every year in high school, we had, like, an orientation day. That was the first day. It was like a half day.
Yeah.
And it's just 4 hours where you sit in the auditorium and, like, all the teachers and everyone just talks to you about what's going to happen for the year.
Oh yeah, of course.
So, like, my friends and I, we, like, decided we're gonna meet up and we're going to smoke a bunch of weed before we go to this because we just have to sit in the auditorium for 4 hours.
Right.
So, like, we meet in the park, 6-pack of, not Zima, but we had Smirnoff Ice.
Yeah.
Oh, you got ice.
Got ice,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah. So we had a warm 6-pack of Smirnoff Ice and, like, a gram of weed.
It's even better when it's warm.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
But when we pulled this weed out, we're like, no one had anything to smoke out of. And my friend Bobby had like a Swisher Sweet or something in his car.
Yeah.
Like a blunt or a paper. And he cut it open all the way and realized he didn't know how to roll a blunt. And none of us did. So we're like, I have an idea. We have weed. We have Smirnoff Ice. I'm going to eat the weed, wash it down with the Smirnoff Ice. That's going to get me high. That's going to be where I need to be. That's smart. That's using my head.
Okay, people talk about lowering the voting age from 18 to 16. Here's one
Raise
case as like
Raise it up.
yeah,
higher.
raise it.
I agree.
I agree,
Create a
too.
window, you know.
Yeah.
People that are buying records from like Justin Bieber's and Britney Spears and things should not be voting and things like
God,
that.
no. No. So did not work. Needless to say,
Really? Why?
made it halfway down my throat, and then I just started throwing up in the park.
Yeah, of course.
So when we finish the Smirnoff Ices, we don't smoke the weed. We get to the auditorium. I'm not feeling good, though. I sit in the back because I feel like I have to throw up again. I'm just like out the sweats again,
Yeah.
like I did in the doctor's office.
Yeah.
I'm in the background sweating, and then that's when I realized that like I sat in the back row because I want to sit in the back. Don't want to talk to me.
Yeah.
And then the principal, vice principal come up, and they're like, "All right, now your student council, class secretary, will lead you in a prayer. Please welcome Patrick Moore." I'm like, I ran for student council last year. Fuck. So I had to walk down.
Oh, it's a Catholic school. I was like,
Yeah.
well, what the fuck are they doing with
So we start with the prayer.
Now I
Okay.
get it. I got it.
So I have to like lead. I go down in front, and now I'm in front of hundreds of people, having just thrown up weed, and I have to read this page-long prayer. I fucking nailed it, dude.
Oh, okay. You
Every
got to
part of this
read it.
prayer.
I thought you
yeah.
were gonna have to like wing
Oh
it.
no, there was a piece of paper, and I had a podium, so I could like push myself against it
Yeah.
and read it, and then I nailed it. Amen. Everyone said amen. And I, instead of walking back to my seat, I just walked casually out of the auditorium and I just threw up in the auditorium hallway.
So the lesson of the story is that eating weed and drinking Smirnoff Ice is a worse idea than snorting crack.
Yes. That's the thing to take away. And because of my heart thing, though, that was before that. So I was able to blame that on my heart thing because they're like, someone saw me throw up in the hallway. A teacher saw me throw up. And by the way, I threw up only liquid because it was only Smirnoff Ice in my system. But I just told the teacher, I'm like, oh yeah, I went on these new heart pills and I'm not reacting well to them. And she's like, oh my God, do you need to go home? I'm like, I think I do.
My new heart
I got to
pills.
leave early.
My new heart pills turned my stomach contents into malted blues.
Yeah.
I mean, they're easy to sucker, though, because when you have to pray like that, all you have to do is say a convincing Hail Mary, and them priests and nuns will believe anything.
That's true.
That's the only thing you can do in Catholic school
Absolutely.
is it's easy to BS when you have to do religion shit. If you ever suffered the Catholic school and had to take religion courses, you could get an A without reading the book. It was just bullshit 101.
Oh, so it's like an English degree.
Yeah.
See, high school is where I had teachers, though, that actually wanted to teach theology and teach religion. And then those were the classes I did worse in because I didn't have any interest in it. So, like, I actually got, like, C's and D's in religion.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I had so many A's I could graduate years ahead just from like bullshit and stuff about God to these people.
If there was ever an essay portion, that was, you could just write whatever you wanted and get an A. So
I have to say this, you have a wonderful voice. Y'all should be a baseball announcer or something like that.
I appreciate that. My Uber driver on the way over here told me I should sing country music or some shit.
I like the baseball announcer.
Thanks, dude. Yeah. I can't sing either, so much better at the baseball
You could
thing.
probably talk, though, so I could see you doing some recitation. At the bottom of this mine lies a big, big man. You're a Royals fan. No, I can see looking at your head. They had Bo Jackson.
Yes, they did.
Bo Jackson, yeah.
And that's where he ran up. Remember when
Up
he
the wall.
Yeah, he ran up.
My dad was there at that game.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. I'm always partial to the Kansas City Royals because of their association with Bo Jackson. So they're definitely in my they're in my top 3.
Yeah. Before we're talking about the 30 for 30s, that's my favorite one.
Yeah,
probably.
you don't know Bo.
Yeah.
That one was fantastic.
It's a great one.
Wasn't Johnny Damon on the Royals, too?
He was on the Royals,
Yeah.
yeah. My favorite Royals player of all time is obviously Jose Lima.
Okay, yeah.
Love me some Lima time. He's just a bombastic personality. And I remember when he was playing for the Astros, we went to spring training because we lived by the Marlins spring training, and they'd always play the Astros because it was relatively close. So it was on that circuit. And Lima was like trying to bum cigarettes off my dad. Like he was in the bullpen like, hey, old man, can I bum a cigarette off you?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
My favorite Royal, probably George Brett. I'm impartial to the fact that he tells a story about shitting his pants.
Oh, that story is so amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Like the best thing about it is it's at like they're at a spring training thing. He's like one of the coaches, you know?
Yeah.
I guess they invited him in as a coach.
Yeah.
And these guys are just working out and he just like walks up randomly to like one of the guys and he's just like, did I tell you the story about shitting my pants?
When was the last time you shit your pants? Yeah. Been a while? I was in Vegas a couple years ago. Just an honest to God true story. Staying at the Bellagio. I went over to the Mirage for dinner, met some friends of mine over there. Went to Kokomo's, a great little steakhouse. The guy brings out some fresh crab legs. These just came in, I gotta give them to you guys. Brings them, I'm eating them. Then we go play gamble a little bit. So I had a tea time early in the morning. So I said, look, I gotta get going. I'm walking back to the hotel. I get 3/4 of the way out of the lobby, and all of a sudden I go, oh fuck. And I'm standing here like this. I got my butt pinched so fucking, I'm fucked. I can't move. All of a sudden, felt all right. I went just like this.
He goes into a level of clinical detail. It's like you could listen to The Moth, you could listen to all those things, and you will never hear a story with so much detail and so much evocative language than like
Just
George
about
Brett
shitting your
talking
pants.
about eating a bunch of like crab legs and getting like food poisoning and poo in his pants.
True story. Who's the pitchers in this game?
And he had the best line in the Bo Jackson thing, the 30 for 30. He's like, oh man, yeah, everyone would stop pissing and go watch Bo play.
Or stop shitting their pants.
Yeah.
Do you remember the cartoon with Bo Jackson and
Wayne Gretzky,
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan.
Pro Stars?
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Yeah, it wasn't that good.
Because they made Gretzky the comic relief. And hey, man, that's Gretzky.
Yeah.
Just because he's a white guy doesn't mean you have to make him silly.
Plus, there's nothing funny about Canada.
Yeah.
Be real.
Well, it was John Candy, but he is dead.
That's true.
And there's nothing intentionally funny about Michael Jordan. Like Michael Jordan has never been intentionally.
He had such an ego. He couldn't even cut like good real promos for the cartoon. He'd just squeeze them in. He always seemed like he was doing practice in the background.
Yeah.
Whereas Bo and Gretzky would show up with their Pro Stars t-shirts on and talk about the cartoon like it was real. That's a real star.
Yeah, people get mad at like LeBron maybe being in Space Jam too.
Yeah.
But he's at least a better actor than Michael Jordan
This
is.
is true. Definitely.
Everybody, I think, is a better actor than Michael
You're probably
Jordan.
right. Yeah.
He couldn't even act in a goddamn underwear commercial.
I know.
That's true. And he had a Hitler mustache for a long time.
I know. It was like he was testing the limits of his charisma.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the breaking point was some of those jeans he wears.
Well, the thing is, some athlete
Wearing
like
his
Michael.
chinkos with like the rhinestones on the butt.
Well, when they get a little older too, and they're not in the same shape they are, and they wear those jeans, and usually the red T-shirts or whatever they wear, they kind of start to look like old man.
And he wears those shoes that are really narrow looking, so it looks like Roger Klotz on Doug.
You'd think he'd wear his own sneakers.
Right. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he makes the coolest shoes ever, man.
I know. Well, he doesn't
It
make
is
them.
true.
Children in the third world
Yeah.
do it.
He does make some pretty cool
pictures on him.
sneakers. So
One of my friends had like a farm in Kansas that was about a 45-minute drive away from the city.
Oh, yeah, so you need that.
So that was a place we could go, and it was just like acres of land. And one of my friends like busted his minivan trying to like off-road in it. Just did the stupidest shit on this farm. It was a Toyota Sienna, is what it was.
Oh, wow,
He tried
yeah.
to drive it in the trees and in the mud and stuff, and like broke off the bottom
yeah.
part of the car. It was nice.
Well, see,
wow.
that's where the drunkenness comes in.
Exactly.
The Toyota Sienna. Because if they had a truck, I
was the
mean, it's
party
just
van.
something to do.
Yeah.
Right, but that would be the place to do that. So
For
we,
sure.
we had a very similar setup outside of Auburn. There was a farm that we went to. My buddy had this place. We called that activity driving around in the cow pasture country voyages.
Did you ever get caught or in trouble there?
No, because it was my buddy whose like dad built the place. He built it back in the 60s
Nice.
and then rejoined society, had a family, and then just sort of left this place out there.
Oh, cool.
It was like 94 acres. It's huge.
Yeah.
And we would just basically ride around. You met my friend Miles. We'd make Bugman.
Old Bugman.
Yeah. Dude, we'd make Bugman go like forward a creek to get to the back pasture and stuff like that. And do
Like Ambrose
donuts
Burnside or something.
Yeah, exactly.
It makes you ford creeks under unfavorable circumstances.
Except Ambrose Burnside wasn't listening to, well, you don't know what we can find. Why don't you come with me, little girl? That was
You
like the
really want to
go-to.
relive the 60s and getting high rivers because you're going to listen to Simon and Garfunkel or some shit next, or Blood Rock or Quill or something obscure.
Well, they do call me Baby Driver.
I wonder how your engines feel. Or,
But I scoot down the road.
do you remember when they did that on the Muppets with Muppet babies? But they wasn't the Muppet babies. They were Muppets that looked like babies.
yeah.
What?
Paul Simon was on the Muppets,
Oh,
and they
really?
did a thing for the song Baby Driver.
Oh, no shit.
And it had a guy driving a baby buggy with
Yeah.
babies in it, and they were baby Muppets, but they wasn't the Muppet
One of
babies.
the Muppet Babies.
yeah.
They're Baby Muppets.
Yeah. Which implies that they reproduce.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things that's great about the Muppet Show is that they would always do that gag where it's like, sing the song, but we'll like do it literally, So it's
I think, their interpretation of Kenny Rogers the Gambler is possibly definitive.
And Crocodile Rock, for that matter.
You're right. They had a lot of
Yeah.
good shit on it.
Yeah, the Muppets wasn't no joke, man.
And they had Zero Mostel, so what more could you need?
They did the Christmas Carol, Michael Caine. That was awesome.
Yeah, the mandolin
I never
player
seen
from,
that one.
The mandolin player from String Cheese, Michael Kine.
The guy, you mean the guy from Jaws 4?
Better known from Jaws 4, yeah.
Oh, what was because I figured out that this is regional, the like alternative like cheap booze. Because where I'm from, it's Aristocrat. Where,
Aristocrat vodka?
So there's like Aristocrat vodka, rum,
The Nick
tequila,
Thomas special, in
Like,
other words.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you had some last time you were down there.
Oh my God, I saw him. It was Christmas time. We went to this wonderful mic. We went in. Now, don't get it wrong, Pressivals, because we're good church people, but we went up into the bathroom together. He had a bottle of Aristocrat, and we chased it down with some, was it Fago root beer or some shit like that?
Yeah.
And
That's the stuff.
it was pretty good. It was pretty good.
Oh man, yeah. So Aristocrat made vodka, rum, whiskey,
Oh, man.
like gin. Like they made every.
Nick, by the way, had to be carried into the house that night. I want to point that out. Nick, if you listen, I miss you.
I know. Come back to us.
I mean,
man.
talk about Nick because talk about 0 to 100 in like an hour. So you always knew Nick was good time. Yeah.
I think it's everywhere, but our cheap booze was McCormick's.
McCormick's. Okay.
Yeah.
We also had for vodka. I think has the most spectacular lineup of shitty off brands, such as Pop Off and Mr. Boston.
Oh, wow.
Oh, Cossack. You remember Cossack?
Georgie.
Ooh. And see, those Russians up to no good with their potatoes and things like this.
Then it just like it tastes like Windex. It's really gross.
The ones that come in the plastic bottles too. Ugh.
I got lucky when I was 16. I won this football pool that I was in. I won like $4,000. I bought a car and I bought 4 bottles of Jack Daniel's black whiskey.
Wait, you bought a car?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I bought like a really 25-year-old Honda Accord with like 200,000 miles on it for like a few
You
grand.
can get plenty of good used cars for that money.
And then the rest I spent on booze, which I kept in the trunk of my car.
Okay.
And so for the entire year, though, I just drank like Johnny Walker Black Label. And then I like rode high for like the first year I drank. And then I had to like go into McCormick's and then find all the cheap brands.
Bad way to spend the money, though, I have to say. I mean, that's one of those makes the most sense I've won $4,000 stories I've ever heard.
Yeah, when I was in college, I actually knew what was what. And I would like, whenever people would do their like liquor store runs, I'd be like, yeah, could you get me a bottle of this red wine or like something decent? And everybody would get their plastic bottle, like Mr. Boston's. And I'd just sit there and like watch them just get drunk. And they had no idea of like what the limits were. It's just
and
like,
you had to be Nick
Just sit-
Bockwinkel.
I was going to say, you're sitting there with your Riesling.
Yeah, I was just sitting there like Kevin Nash, just like, oh, this red wine tastes very good. You know,
I didn't like beer
I'm
for
sipping this, my bro.
most of high school. I didn't like beer. So like I would buy liquor. So like I was that person. My friends would buy like 2 cases of like Natural Light. I'm like, can you get me a bottle of, like Tanqueray gin?
I agree. I couldn't agree more. As a youngin', I didn't like beer neither because you look at it as a kid and you think, wow, this is like soda plus. And then you drink it and it's like, wow, this tastes like dishwater minus.
Yeah.
But booze, now that's a man's thing. And you can learn how to sip it, and that's proper stuff. But as a child, I didn't, when I got old and could go to bars and things, that's when I started to like beer, especially draft beer.
Yeah.
But as a kid, you get a can of Budweiser, I drink it. I was like, what is this? What is
Sussy
the fuss
bullshit.
about this?
I've always been really moderate on it because, like, when I was growing up, like we'd go to parties and stuff like that, like with my parents and stuff like that, and there would always be like the drunk guys because they were all sailors, so I knew like kind of what the limits were and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, you can just sit here, drink moderately, and just watch these people be like idiots. And, when it's college, you're just like, oh, game on. This is like a spectator sport of just people like, oh, I did 12 shots of Mr. Boston and
I
ate
think
nothing
I've
but like
discovered something
queso
tonight.
and chips. So let's see what this guy throws up.
I think we've all discovered something tonight. Pat, we don't even say you was Catholic, right? Raised, and you was too.
Yeah.
And we all wasn't. Catholic people are the best drinkers because they don't have always the same kind of conundrums about drinking. So they just drink like
And meanwhile,
it's no big thing.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, I was raised with no religion, and I was trying to make like liquor in my closet.
Well, that's Alabama. See, now when you come from moonshiners, that's different.
Well, that's the thing. I didn't know what step 2 was. All I knew was like I had to ferment some apples. So I definitely took some apples home from school,
That's fantastic.
chopped them up, put them in a 20-ounce bottle, and then just let them sit there for a year or so. And then,
That's patience, dude.
well, here's the thing. The fermentation, it builds up the gases, and there's nowhere for them to go. And so at one point, I just started smelling this awful smell coming from my closet. And I realized that the fermenting apples had actually cracked the bottle and it had just like leaked down the back wall.
Oh man.
So
Well, I guess this is how you make cider.
No, I think he actually made like cyanide.
but the thing is, I didn't know there was like a step. I didn't know what step
You thought
2
you just
was.
put apples in the jar. It's like the old joke. The boy and the girl. The boy's standing on the girl's shoulders. He says, well, put a condom on. We're on top of each other. When does the fun begin?
I was essentially, I guess, trying to make like toilet wine, like prison. But I didn't know that there was like a second part where you had to actually create a still and,
you don't
siphon off the. I didn't know any of that.
Rivers, you got to get you copper kettle.
Yeah.
Get you copper coal. If you listen to that song, see, it's like the Biggest Smalls. See, this is how music changes. You know this, Rivers.
Yeah.
Nowadays, a big Smalls tells people how to make crack and things like that, how to use crack. Back in the day, the old ballads taught you how to make moonshine.
Yeah, you just don't get like a bottle of treetop apple juice and throw it in your closet. Just wait until it bloats,
Copper kettle, copper coil, new made corn mash, a proper holler or something to lay there by the juniper. That's what the songs say.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, kind of a little bit evil, but there's nothing more amusing than watching somebody, like, especially when you're in college or something like that, somebody that's just completely dumb to it, just like it's kind of a weird spectator sport.
For sure,
You know, it's
absolutely.
like, you know, obviously when people get drunk, it's just like, there's a dangerous element of it. And there's like a point in which it crosses over. It's like, oh, this is bad and stuff
Yeah.
like, but right before it hits that point, it was always one of those things where it's just like, oh, we'll see what kind of journey we're going on here. You know?
Oh
You
yeah,
just kinda sit-
there is a good thing when you drink. I have to say, it's like, you know, you look at, remember that Columbo episode where the guy with the ring would make marks and the Irish guy would make marks in the bottle for how much he's going to drink. But you look at where you're going to drink to and where it's at, and you know, between that and that is an adventure. And that's always the fun of drinking, because there always is a point where it's an adventure before the point where somebody gets too wasted. And then it's like, oh shit, now it's getting dull because
Right,
Faso threw up on everything. We have to drive him home.
But the time right before everybody starts falling off of things. That's
That's when it's really fun.
There was one guy, case in point, there was this one guy. I went down to UCF because all my friends went to UCF during the summer. And
Is that the movie with Weird Al?
Yeah, UCF.
Oh no, that's the thing with Brock Lesnar, right?
But no, it's the school in Florida that stands for You Can't Finish. But it's
schools for closers only.
Yeah. But so there was a house that everybody would party at because it was like the house that the club soccer players, like the club team soccer players, would stay at, and there was it was like that house that was at every college. That was just like retrofitted to be like a drinking Disneyland. Like it had like 3 kegerators, tables that were specifically made and decorated to play different drinking games. You had the beer pong table that was painted up regulation, and the flip cup table that was painted up regulation, and like the 2-story funnel that like people would just funnel bottles of wine from and stuff like.
Oh, so that's like, just gauche.
Yeah, it is.
You never see Sinatra drinking from a funnel.
Yeah, I know. But it was like completely like the
I would actually love to see that though.
Of college,
He's holding on to the thing, waiting for the fuzz to go down.
Pour that stuff in there, Sammy.
Start spreading the nose. Go up to the balcony.
Yeah.
I'm gonna drink from the 3 stories down. Wait, let's get a long tube so I can sit in the pool.
You have to get to the top of the sign of the palms, and then you pour it down. You know, but no, it was just like this. It was gauche. You know, it was a complete.
It really is.
When it's in college, when college drinking is not a thing that you do to taste things or
it's
savor flavors or, you know.
Drinking is an essential part of life, like cigarettes, booze, and possibly guns, too. It's there to improve the quality of your life.
It wasn't like a life improvement. It was just like, you know. It was one of those
it's
things.
not drinking to drink. It's drinking to
I went there for a birthday party, which turned into a joint birthday party with me because it was like, you know, the guy that they were throwing it for was this guy named Chingy. Not his
Chingy?
given name.
The rapper?
They called him Chingy, but he was like one of those guys that was like super nerdy that was really into hip hop culture and like would dress in like, you know, just kind of see the video on, you know, on TV and be like, all right, I got to copy that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go get some South Pole and some Echo. Yeah, just one of those kind of guys, you know, and go, but he, you know, went to like Goodies and got the stuff there so he could like play, you know, like he's in a Chingy video.
Yeah.
So he was talking about how he just turned 21. He's just like, yeah, I know you all are going to get me drunk, but you're not going to get me drunk because I've won drinking contests back home. Like, you know, big drinking contest. Like, it's like they have the big town drinking contest and Chingy's the champion of the drinking contest. And also Chingy smelt really bad. He was one of those guys that just smelt bad and you couldn't explain why.
Maybe that's why he always won, because nobody else wanted to go up to the bar beside him.
So he was just like, yeah, mix me a drink. Come on, make it strong because I'm a drinking champion. You know, like, I don't know who was the sanctioning body behind it. He didn't let us know, but whatever. So my friend had mixed him a drink in a pint glass that was 14 ounces of Captain Morgan and 2 ounces of Coke.
That will get you there.
It was one of those ones that was just like color, you know?
Yeah.
That Crapton Morgan rum.
Oh, it's horrible. Yeah,
it's
I've
awful.
never enjoyed it very much.
And I think they're trying to advertise to kids with that pirate, too.
Yeah, definitely. And the fact that it's not quite the full proof of like regular liquor, so it's like something that you like Malibu and stuff like that,
absolutely.
where it's like it's the gateway drug to, you know,
Yeah,
whatever.
it's like the wine cooler.
That's what you would drink in high school.
Yeah, exactly. You know, Chingy got so incredibly drunk that I've never seen a person not just throw up so much, but throw up in so many cartoonishly ridiculous ways. He threw up off of the balcony for which the 2-story funnel was on.
Yeah.
He threw up in the kitchen. He threw up. It's like that thing from Crank Yankers where it was the character that just like threw up all over the place that was voiced by Dave Chappelle. Yeah. And it just ended where he was just like right by the rain gutters. Just like throwing, like literally in the gutter. Yeah. Just like laying there. And people were just like, people were like trying to give him water.
Right.
And at one point somebody was genius and it's like, no, we got to get him a lot of water quick. He's not drinking. So they just like poured water down the rain spigot and just got him because he was just like kind of turning his head. It's one of those things where it's like a discovery. For sure. Where it's just like, okay, this element has been thrown into a person's, body, and you can't predict which way it's going to go, you know, and whenever it goes bad, it's like, oh, that's unfortunate. But whenever it just becomes completely ridiculous, that's when it gets, especially when the person brings themselves up they hype themselves up. It's like, I'm a drinking champion.
That's always famous last words.
I'm a drinking champion of the Tampa territory, It's just like,
but I'll say this, so, puke isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
That's true.
It has good connotations.
It could be puke.
Yeah.
But in my experience, too, people that drink a lot or experienced drinkers or good drinkers don't brag about it or don't say anything. They just sit there and they
just drink.
Yeah.
Actually, they're usually already drinking.
Drink anybody under the table. She was like a 5'2", 100-pound like Irish woman that could just drink anyone under the table. But she'd never like walk around and hype up and like,
I'm a drinking champion. Yeah.
I want you to drink.
Gordon Soley was hammered as shit on Georgia Championship Wrestling. He was the announcer. So he was like, high knee left from Mr. Wrestling 2. And he's got a cigarette when he's off camera and a vodka underneath the podium that he's drinking.
I love that old time stuff. That's my favorite thing about like watching old clips like Johnny Carson is he always had a cigarette off the side of the camera.
Yeah, those are the good old days.
Yeah.
Dean Martin, he's always smoking and things like this.
And on TV, like the old TV shows, everybody's shit faced.
Everyone was hammered like on those game shows and stuff. Everyone was shit faced.
Oh, match game?
Yeah. Jinx. Yeah, match games was so like, and it's funny because you have the different drunken personalities because like Richard Dawson was just like the very like reserved drunk that was just like, I'm drunk. I gotta be super serious. Okay.
And sometimes
he's trying to keep it together. Yeah.
Charles Nelson Riley would get depressed and wouldn't want to talk. And he'd be like, I just said Lord Byron. And that's the only thing he'd say at all. And I went, Charles, where's the...
Brett Summers is like your very boisterous drunk, that one that just is like, I'm drunk, I'm gonna have a good time.
I know.
And then Betty White was the flirty drunk.
Well, I was going to say, how did
great.
Jack Klugman put up with Brett Summers?
Yeah. No, I mean, but there was never a violent drunk on the...
I know. It was on that show.
Charles Nelson Riley probably, when they turned off the camera, was just like, I am sick and tired of all you assholes.
I can't work under these conditions.
Why do you keep making me wear these scarves? I hate them. They make me sweat.
But that show looked like so much fun. If I was one of them celebrities, I'd probably pay to be on that one.
Oh, yeah, or like...
Fall off the center square.
Hollywood Squares, yeah. It's like, it's not just 9 drunks, it's 9 drunks on top of each other.
9 drunks on top of Paul Lynde, which could also be a completely different kind of movie.
It's like, of course we're going to put like drunk Dom DeLuise at the top in the corner where he could obviously fall down.
But like, why did that stop? Like, were there laws against drinking on TV? Was that a thing?
I think it was one of the things with like sponsors and stuff like that, where it's like, oh, we have to take off the,
unpredictability.
The unpredictability of
I gotcha.
it,
Because I watched the new match game with Alec Baldwin. And
he's doing the match game?
He's hosting the match game on ABC.
Oh man.
ABC brought back all the old game shows. Michael Strahan's doing $100,000 Pyramid.
I didn't know that went away.
Steve Harvey was doing Celebrity Family Feud.
Yeah, of course.
And then Alec Baldwin's hosting match game.
There's like in prime time or
they're on Sundays on ABC.
Because
no
ABC just does
they're out of ideas.
Yeah.
Well, it's the summer thing, so it's like, hey, let's do it as a summer show. No, Alec Baldwin brought back he's got the big microphone. He's got the long microphone on match game.
Oh wow, yeah. Also, speaking of drunks, Alec Baldwin, holy shit.
Oh yeah, he likes to drink.
Legendary.
And the celebrities drink on that show, but not a lot. But they are drinking.
Yeah, okay, well that's good.
Which is that's fun.
Keeping that alive.
Who are the match game matchers?
They've had on, because I feel like I read an interview with Baldwin where he said they filmed it in like 4 days, so it was probably whoever was available in New York City in these 4 days.
Who was on the set?
So Rosie O'Donnell's been in all of them.
Okay. She's solid.
Yeah, she's good.
Yeah.
Titus
Very
Burgess from
solid.
Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Oh, I love that guy.
Yeah.
He's funny.
They had on Bobby Moynihan was in one. He was funny.
Yeah.
Maggie Q was just really attractive.
I don't know.
She
There
was.
would always be one like very attractive woman that would
Yeah.
always sit next to Richard Dawson. So Richard Dawson would just sit there the entire time and just stare.
Well, it was the balls.
And then he would be like, Richard, what's your answer? And he'd be like, what? Oh.
Like I say, TV was really good back then.
Yeah, now it's like, too shiny. They have to like CGI drunk people.
Yeah,
and shit
everything's
like that.
watered down. Nobody can just go out there and get real drunk again and look at a woman not wearing a bra when they're supposed to be doing a TV game.
I mean, the last time that happened,
fun to
it was
watch.
Craig Ferguson's show, So it's like,
Yeah, but he probably had gruesome puppets or something come in.
The worst place I ever threw up was when all my friends turned 18. I was older in my class. Like my birthday's in August, so I was a summer birthday, so I started a year later.
Okay.
So I was always like turned 18 before everyone else.
Yeah.
So I had to wait for everyone else to turn 18 before we went to our first strip club.
Uh-huh.
And the one in Kansas City that we went to, it was a juice bar, so they didn't serve liquor. So we bought a big handle of McCormick's vodka in the plastic bottle.
Yeah.
And I got like a supersized McDonald's Sprite and just poured half of it out and filled the other half up with vodka. And just drank that entire thing in my buddy's Jeep Wrangler on the way to the strip club.
Uh-huh.
Got drunk on the way there, obviously. We walk into the strip club. It's a good time. Got my 2 waters here. We're sitting on the stage, putting the dollars on the stage. My buddy Patrick is, his name's also Patrick. He's sitting next to me. He notices I look kind of not well. I might just be staring like this or something. But I look like I'm about to throw up. So he sees me kind of go like this, like start to like motion a little bit, like I'm heaving a little bit. And he just hands me his empty glass, and I throw up in his empty glass in front of the stage. And then I fill that up, and he hands me my glass. I throw up in that glass.
Oh,
And now they're both full, so I stand up and I throw up on the stage with the girls dancing. I threw up
Just
all
pure
over the
feet.
stage.
Oh, Jesus.
And you've never seen bouncers grab someone out of a strip club faster.
I was going to say,
that's
yeah.
the most hideous visual that I've.
Yeah. Just disgusting.
This needs a parental advisor puke warning.
But because it's my friend's first time at a strip club, they hung out for another 45 minutes.
What, you just had to sit outside?
Yeah. But
Well,
one
you
of my
want to get it in. You drove there.
Right, absolutely, yeah. But one of my friends went out to check on me, and like he goes out to the car. I'm not in the car, and he looks over, and I'm in someone else's car. I drunkenly got in the wrong person's car. I was sitting in the back seat, and I locked myself in, and I wouldn't get out. He's like, "No, Patrick, you gotta get out of the car. That's not the car, buddy. You gotta get out of there." I'm like, "No." So, but somehow he got me to unlock the door, and I got out, and I got in the other car.
There's no more ridiculous visual than a bouncer throwing out somebody while they're throwing up, because they take their liberties and they just throw the person while they're throwing up. So it's like one of those things, like if you like put a hole and like shake up a can of soda and you poke a hole in it and you just throw it in the air.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those effects but it's a human being and it's
Or like skywriting, except it doesn't last.
yeah.
but it's one of those things too.
And
Like
nobody would use that to try and get married with. you
exactly.
know?
They told me I was banned, but I was able to go back. They didn't take my name.
Yeah.
That's like being banned from Kauffman Stadium. It happens, but they let you back in the Royals games.
Well, I don't think
They don't
this-
take your picture.
What was the name of this place?
Bazooka Showgirls.
I don't imagine the standards were that high.
I know, and it was, it was, it was a Friday night, so they had the 8 answers out. It wasn't a Tuesday or anything.
How was the food? Have you ever gone on the off nights for the food?
Okay, no, they didn't serve food, and I know there's strip clubs here that serve food. I would love to eat at a strip club sometime because I've never done it before, and I want to see how sick I will get.
Well,
Some
you
of them
go to
post to have
Portland
good
and eat
food.
the vegan strip club.
Oof.
Yeah, just fucking look at boobs and
Yeah.
Eat
eat
Gardein
tempeh.
wings.
Yeah.
Can you get a boner eating that stuff?
No, not enough protein.
Then what's the point?
And also, we talked about the farm thing, my buddy's farm in Leavenworth, Kansas.
Yeah.
We got in trouble there a couple times. One time we were leaving a party, and I was riding with 2 girls, and me and my buddy Nathan were in the back seat, and also my buddy Pat. And this girl's driving a Ford Escape, and it's really dark at night, and it's kind of like gravel roads. She tries to pull a U-turn, and in pulling a U-turn, she drives immediately into a ditch.
Yep.
Because the ground, it's not normal ground. It's a gravel road. So we're now stuck in a ditch and very drunk and very, very 17. These guys in like a truck, these 2 kind of hit guys in like Leavenworth come up and they're like, "Hey man, we got a hitch in our truck. We'll tow you out." And we're like, "Great." So they put the thing on the front of the car. They get in the car, they drive off, and all they do is just rip the front bumper off the car. We're like, "Hey guys, that was a lot of help. Thank you." And they're like, hey, don't worry. My cousin's the sheriff's deputy. We called him. He's on his way. He's going to get you out of here. Now, as drunk 17-year-olds, that's not what you want to hear. So the cops come, and like they talk to us, and they asked if we've been drinking. We lied. We said no. And then my buddy Nathan is very drunk, and he asked the cop if he could use his breathalyzer. Voluntarily asked the cop if he could use the breathalyzer. And we all fucking look at him like, are you fucking kidding me, you dipshit?
Yeah.
And he blows it, and like he blows like a .12 or something.
Yeah.
And he's like, you lied to me. And we're like, well, great. Now this is going to be bad.
Yeah.
And he actually let us go. He let us all blow into the device to see how drunk we all were, and then he let us drive home.
Jesus. Wow.
As long as we weren't in Leavenworth.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of prisons there, too.
Yeah.
So that's not a place to do
It's all
time.
about priorities there, though.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it is Leavenworth.
Leavenworth, you filthy, rotten hole. Your walls possess my body, not my soul. Although I'm locked inside your man-made hell, here in my heart I'm free and doing well.
Patrick, where can people find you on the internet, sir?
Dude, I'm on Twitter at Patrick Moore, RIP, or at
What a perfect.
or morelaughs.com.
Okay, and tell them about your show.
Tanked, it's a storytelling show. Comics talk about being drunk.
West Side Comedy Theater down in Santa Monica.
Yes, sir. Where you do your show, and then the high show I do Token Joke.
I love that you do a drug show and a high show. So
Yeah.
you're hitting all of the markets.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was at the West Side, and August 31st, we're going to do it in the Belly Room at the Comedy Store.
Oh no shit!
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
So I'm
okay,
excited
cool.
about that. So yeah, come on out.
Hell yeah! So come see some live comedy in Los Angeles. Please subscribe, rate, review, subscribe to us on iTunes. We're twitter.com/The Good Spot. We're on Facebook at The Good Spot as well. And we're gonna take you out now with a little bit more summer music. Dinosaur Jr. This is Take a Run at the Sun. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Take a run at the sun when you think of the one. Brings a cloud to your eye. Every moment you smile, rain lets up for a while. Sun starts clearing your sky. Every night you cry alone, every tear a raindrop, and every time you're on your own, and you wish the hurt would stop. The sun would never hurt you, the warmth of rays will hold you, and every time you wonder why, remember what I told you. You've been waiting for a sign you wouldn't need if you were mine. Let his clouds go feel the sunshine. Take a run at the sun when you think of the one. Brings a cloud to your eye. Every moment you smile, rain lets up for a while. Sun starts clearing your sky. Let the rays come inside and make everything right. Let the sun embrace you. All the feelings you had, let them go with the tide. Give the moon a place to. You've been hurt, the clouds roll in. Your heart is close to broken. Don't wanna move, you're feeling down. Catch the rain, it's coming around. The sun would never hurt you. The warmth of rays will hold you. And every time you wonder why, remember what I told you. Take a run at the sun when you think of the one. Brings a cloud to your eye. Every moment you smile, rain lets up for a while. Sun starts clearing your sky. Let the rays come inside and make everything right. Let the sun embrace you. All the feelings you hide, let them go with the tide. Give the moon a place to. Take a run at the sun.
from the Woods was mixed, edited, and distributed by me, Rivers Langley. You can find the show on Twitter at The Goods Pod. Our theme song was composed by DJ Smiles. Check him out on Twitter at DJ Smiles.